everybody. It's Tom, and it's Tuesday morning, and I'm back for another series this week. And a couple weeks ago, some of you might have tuned in. I talked about what I thought were two of the most dangerous words in the English language, and that was should and can't. And if you missed those, you can actually go back and find those videos here in our free Facebook group, so you can check those out and invite others to join the group and see them as well if you find them helpful. This week I want to talk about two words that I think are the two of the more empowering words in the English language. Before I get into that, I will introduce the first word here in a second. I want to go off script just a tiny bit because I'm going to be honest here and say that I've really been struggling the last couple of days. Some of you that maybe have been following some of the things I've posted a little bit longer might know that I've always struggled with anxiety for as long as I can remember, even back to being a kid. And it seems like there's an ebb and a flow to it. I think that one of the reasons I've been drawn to the practice of centering prayer and meditation is that it is a deeply healing and grounding and centering practice that I think has probably helped to keep me relatively sane and centered through career and relationships and growing a young family and all of that busyness and stress. I know that's part of the reason I was drawn to it. And even with all the work that I've done in my own meditation practice and the healing I've found, I find that it just flares up from time to time. And obviously things have been a little stressful in our culture. And then I tend to drive myself pretty hard with perfectionism. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks yesterday. There were tears. There was just a real struggle. So I just want to be honest and say, I'm really passionate about sharing this practice and working with people who want to integrate a deeply centering practice and get in touch with their inner core of wisdom and bring that into your leadership and into your relationships. But I also don't want to, come across as like I'm perfect. I'm in this work myself and doing it all the time. So just wanted to be honest and ask for your thoughts and prayers, even as it tends to kind of flare up and then kind of calm back down. But I'm coming back to basics myself and back to my ground and back to my practice and just trying to keep it simple here for a few days. So if you're struggling out there as well, just invite you to kind of do the same. Okay, so I mentioned a couple weeks ago should and can't as two of the more dangerous words in the English language. And one of the things that we do when we get into a deeper practice of centering for wisdom is we learn to recognize when the power of these different words start to come up for us and kind of take over. Like when my anxiety takes over my body, you might have other cues that you get when you're going too hard or kind of trapped in some of those disempowering beliefs or words. And one of the things that we learn to do in the practice is to stop engaging with those and giving them power and letting them go. And that's where some of the deep healing process can really happen. What Father Thomas Keating calls the divine therapy, the deeper healing that happens even at non-conscious levels of our awareness, just by us showing up and staying present to our practice. Over time, we start to let go of a lot of that baggage that we carry around. And then we also want to maybe, what we find is some freedom. So for myself, I've used to be just kind of trapped in this debilitating anxiety almost all the time. But with practice and other self-care and help that I've gotten, I'm able to find some freedom in my daily life and show up with a different kind of energy. And so in that freedom, then we have that energy to sort of choose, well, what are the more empowering ways that we want to live? And so the word that I've been thinking about, it's actually my word for 2021 that I've kind of got posted around my office. And that word is believe. It sounds like such a simple word, and in some cases it is. But I have been fascinated by studying kind of ancient languages in my theology career. And our word for belief comes from this Latin word fidere, which means to place one's trust in, to place our trust in. So believe has to do with not just the content of what we believe, but who we believe or what we believe, what we trust. We know there's a lot of misinformation out there in the media, in the social media world in particular, and intentionally misleading information out there that wants us to believe certain conspiracies or things about the world so that we'll behave in a certain way that helps other people stay in power. And so we have this freedom in our practice to place our belief where we want. And of course, when we come at this from a faith tradition and a practice, we place our belief in God and a higher power than ourselves. And we surrender that smaller ego self that just wants to kind of meet its own needs, or for me, that's where I get caught up in a lot of my anxieties. We learn to surrender that deeply in the practice. And again, that's where some of the healing and the freedom starts to come, and we can show up in our lives in a different way with a new energy, a new belief, a new trust, and knowing that not everything is riding on our shoulders. We can show up and give 100% to our leadership, to our business, to maybe our marriages or our relationships or our kids or our families, and show up and be just who we were made to be and trust in that, and then hand that trust over to the one who created us, knowing that higher power than ourselves, that God has things under control. And that, of course, is the remedy as well to a lot of the anxiety and struggle that I was talking about earlier. So belief is the first one today. One other quick thing that I want to share that's just kind of fun. If you haven't had a chance, I've been watching Ted Lasso, this show about a American football coach who gets hired to go coach in a Premier League soccer team in the UK. But one of the things that I love about Ted Lasso, who's the head coach, he's kind of become my hero, is just he has this indomitable belief in the goodness in other people and that things are going to work out. The show doesn't really get into like faith or like a higher power, but he clearly has this really strong belief. And in fact, when he comes into the locker room in this new Premier League, and of course all the players are like, who the heck is this guy? He writes in big on a big yellow sign the word believe and tapes it up above his office. And every time he goes into his office, he like slaps it as he's heading in. So anyways, I'm thinking about getting a big believe yellow sign like that as a reminder for 2021. All right, so that's kind of what I've been thinking about for today. I'm going to tune in again on today's Tuesday, on Thursday, and I will share with you what I think is the second most powerful word in the English language that can replace that should and that can't. And it won't be what you think. It's kind of a surprise one for Thursday, so make sure you tune in. Again, thanks for being here. Invite other friends to join the group if you're enjoying it. Please post any insights or thoughts that you want to share. Appreciate any support for all of us who are struggling. I know that our frontline care workers, like everybody's just kind of struggling right now in this challenging time. So let's keep each other in prayer and in thought. And as always, as I mentioned, my passion is helping people to enter into this deep healing process of centering for wisdom and bringing that into your leadership and your relationships and daily life, whatever that looks like for you. So if you're interested in thinking about how you could apply some of that to your own anxieties and deepening your belief and your faith through this really deep healing practice, then as always, I will invite you to sign up for a breakthrough session with me. I posted the link there in the chat, and it's thomasjbushlack.com/apply. And if you're interested in that, we'll get on a free call for about 45 minutes. The main goal for me is to get clarity to where you are now and where you'd like to be. And if I can help you get there, I'll discuss that. And if not, I'll try to refer you to somebody who can. So if you're interested, go ahead and click that link right now and, talk about getting into that healing process that I myself am continually engaged in, working with my own anxiety and whatever, struggles you might be having as well that are real. I will meet you there and be in it with you and see if we can do this deep healing work together. So thanks for being here. Click that link, and I look forward to talking with you soon. And go ahead and post any thoughts or insights in the group as well. All right, thanks everybody. Take care.